Hello everyone, hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just going to name to XRP once again. Thank you for your support. Okay, but you got the CoinsKid crew. So right now XRP is starting to drop into the worry zone once more. Okay, but you can clearly see Bitcoin's deeper into the worry zone than XRP, Ethereum, BNB, Solana, so on and so forth. It's quite deep into that. There is a coin at the moment I'm looking to long relatively soon, and it's this coin here on the micro. I'm looking at Tron. Okay, because it's pulling back quite a lot and it's quite big on the futures blocks right now. You can clearly see if we zoom in on right now. You can clearly see it's pulling back, and we do have a little bit of a bullish divergence that's building. So I need to look at a long on that because what we've done, if you take a look, we've come up like that, and we're coming back and we're filling this wick, okay, with a bullish divergence right at the bottom of it. So I think Tron could offer a nice little long for us to just get some relief, come back upstairs, even break back out into this God candle back test just there for the likes of TRX, okay, and it was brought to my attention by the futures blocks. We do have on the 15-minute time frame, remember this is your micro time frame trading, we'd have a nice little bullish divergence just there, and equally on the MACD as well, really far down below the the zero line right there. We do have a nice little bullish divergence that's building as well between that low and that low, and this low and this low, and the lower lows that we're experiencing on the index. So we might get a nice little pump here off Tron TRX, which is around about 6.97%, and it was brought to my attention because on the micro it's a big white block. Basically the size of the block represents how deep into that zone it is. So this is quite deep into the extreme fear zone, sorry. So this is why it's being brought to my attention. Equally, we've got another coin here called XDC. Okay, so they're just a couple of coins that basically on the micro that brought to my attention. Okay, look at me, is there a reason to short me? You stop loss and things like that, I've taught you before. So I won't go all in, and obviously this is something I teach in the channel. Never use your whole account, only use a percentage of your account. Don't go all in, don't use your life savings, don't be an over leveraged degen. Always apply stop loss and negate the trade. But right now Tron is jumping out the page to me. It's a nice little long opportunity because it's an extreme fear, on the micro time frame, which is your micro time frame trading. Now, really importantly, let's take a look at the macro time frame for the futures blocks. You can clearly see right now that Tron is in the neutral zone. Okay, so it's chilling in the neutral zone, just like XRP, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. Now, this is a very important metric. Okay, this is a very important thing to remember. If we ever see XRP go into the white zone, we buy as much XRP as we can. Okay, because it doesn't happen often. For example, if we take a look, the last time it happened was way back down here. Okay, anything below 20 is the extreme fear zone. Look at that buying opportunity, and I remember relaying that at the time. XRP is in the buy zone, guys. It's all the way down there, and everyone was like unsubscribing, saying no way, no way. But I said to you, what an opportunity! I don't think we'll see this again. And we, look at that, boom. It doesn't happen often, but if it does happen in time, please remember that. If ever you see on the macro, on the futures blocks, XRP white or Bitcoin or Ethereum, you buy it. Again, nothing I say is financial advice. And obviously the opposite side is if ever you see XRP red or Ethereum red or Bitcoin red, you do not buy, you look to sell and take profit. So let's dive into the XRP chart right now. But this system I've updated for you. You've got all your favorites, your filters, volume, exchanges, so on and so forth. You can even have the resize on and off, and all that represents is how deep into the zone is that block on that time frame. So we've got macro, day, and micro time frame trading right there for your coins on the futures blocks. So let's dive into the XRP chart right now, see what we can see. Okay, so taking a look at this post I made way back in August. So I've been traveling in the summer holiday, as you're fully aware. I didn't get many videos out, but I was keeping an eye on the charts for you. And one thing that did concern me, it's basically from this high here, we did see this three wave move up, three wave move down, and then we've got another three wave move up. So one of the things I was looking at in this retracement coming back, we was looking to hold this green line, okay, which is around about 190. And this is why, since I've been back, I have been really cautious with you. Okay, a lot of people are subscribing and things like that, but I said to you, please be cautious here. This is not where you buy XRP. Okay, the time to buy was when it was basically down there, which I've shown you, really oversold on the weekly time frame. That's where you buy and take on the opportunity. Okay, right now, if you were buying XRP because someone on YouTube were telling you it's going to go to $100 and things like that, then you're doing it wrong. You need to buy the blood fear and depression of 5 waves down, and this is what I've taught you. Okay, and I think those times will come again, so please stick with the channel, because this is where I buy and accumulate as much XRP as I can. When you're getting top heavy, okay, and you're starting to see bearish divergence and things like that, you are taking on risk, and this is something I basically emphasize with you till I'm blue in the face. So regardless of that, on this channel we trade. Basically we trade on the daily time frame. We look for micro trades in and out, and we make money going long, short, whatever, not just on XRP, but obviously I like XRP. I've got a lot of XRP. I cover XRP. You know, I've been buying XRP for many years, and I'll continue to buy XRP for many years. So if we get that opportunity again, where XRP comes down into the oversold conditions, flips green or even white, which would be an amazing opportunity on the futures blocks, on the macro, I'll just be buying as much XRP again as I can, and I'll be relaying that opportunity to you, and people will be unsubscribing and saying I'm an idiot and saying no way again. So basically, there was an observation in the summer that, you know, this was a 3-wave move down, 3-wave move up, 3-wave move down, and another 3-wave move back up. So what we was doing from that July high was retracing this potential impulse. The fact that we've lost it last Friday could indicate, okay, well, actually, since December last year, XRP has had a massive impulsive move as expected, and it's been in a whopping crash and correction ever since, where what it's done in this B wave, it's made a bull trap, B wave high. It's a 3-wave move, not an impulsive move. This is why this green line at 190 has been paramount to support for the impulse, and this is what I relayed to you. So the fact that we've seen that wick down shows, okay, you know, you've got this ABC at play. Whether or not the C wave is complete, time will tell. We need to see a reversal on this wick right now, immediately, break out the range, which I'll go through with you in today's video, and then it's all go, you know, it's all systems go. But if it doesn't do that, I think people will be really fearful. And that's exactly where your opportunities are, because if XRP does start to pull back and we see 5 waves to the downside and we flip green and obviously white on that, you know, the futures block right there, I'll just be diving in as much as I can. I'll be relaying that to you, because that's exactly what I did in 2022 and on the drop in 2024, basically, where I've been buying. So is it a case, you know, basically every 2 years XRP's having a significant pullback where we can buy as much as we can? So that would mean, okay, well, XRP's rolled over from this point. We've got an A into a B. Right now you've entered some kind of C wave from the July top. It's not been an impulsive move, and from there we're in this 5-wave drop to the downside, where we bottom late 2025, early 2026, which again, if we see 5 waves down and we're oversold and we see in the white block or the green block, you know, on the futures block right there on the macro, what an opportunity that will be, because over a long period of time we're still making these higher lows. So again, you want that, okay? I know you don't want it. I know you want it to take off in space and go to $100 tomorrow, but it doesn't work like that. These things take time. You know, like I've taught you, the bulls go up the stairs and the bears go out the window. So if it pulls back, I think it's just a great opportunity, to be honest with you. Now, will it pull back? I don't know. I'll just react to the price structure. What I'm looking at right now, if XRP can coil up on the wick and start to make an ascending triangle, which is what we've seen on every single massive, you know, sell-off in this market, when it was a corona dump and a big sell-off in 2020 that I've shown you with the SEC bull crap, then fantastic. We'll build more positions, be more confident about the big Q4 finish, okay? But if it doesn't and it rolls over, I'm not a crier, I'm a buyer, okay? Because I think it'll just be a great opportunity going forward for XRP. Let's dive into the charts right now and see what we can see, okay? So looking at Bitcoin on the 5-day time frame, at the moment we are holding the CoinsKid ribbon on the 5-day, which is really important. But if we do start to break down below that, I think we may have some kind of running flat that we've been in. I don't think, you know, that this move here is overly impulsive, to be honest with you, because one of the key things I'm looking at is we are making lower highs in the RSI still, okay, on this neckline. So this key pivot point just there, we're making lower highs on the RSI. So we're coming back into the mid-range. If we can coil up on that mid-range and start to go again, it would indicate to me that this is actually a correction that we've been in since December last year. And what we may have is not necessarily the beginning of a bear market. It may actually be some kind of running flat wave 2 correction. So what we've got is a 1 into a 2 into a 3 into a 4 into a 5, and it's at this point last year, December, I said to you, okay, be careful here, because Bitcoin's run up in 5. When it runs up in 5, anything runs up in 5, be careful. And I think with that as well, we did have that accompanying bearish divergence between that pivot point and that pivot point. So we've got the double bearish divergence right there, okay, where Bitcoin had come out on that third wave, you know, basically broke the all-time high as expected, made a new all-time high before the halving as well, which was unbelievable, the first time in its cycle. Then it came back in the wave 4 into the ribbon, a beautiful diamond bottom at the bottom, and then broke bull, okay, and came up into this wave here where it made this bearish divergence in 5 waves. So it's at this point last year I said to you, please be careful on Bitcoin here. I'm looking at some kind of pullback. We got that pullback. We bottomed here on the ribbon in April, and then we broke bull again. But now I'm looking at a potential scenario because of this 5-wave move up, okay, and what we're seeing across the board in many altcoins where we've not seen an alt season, and obviously the waterfall and the Bitcoin dominance, I'm looking at the fact that this could actually be some kind of running flat correction. We're actually still in the correction here. So the C wave has began in the summer. So, you know, really simple. And again, I could be really wrong, absolutely wrong. But I'm looking at some kind of A wave down, B wave high, and now you're in a C wave. It comes back down as this God candle back test just there for Bitcoin. So at this point, everyone and their dog thinks you've entered some kind of bear market here, or prolonged, year-long bear market. But the proof may actually be in the fact that what you've done in this cycle, on this third impulsive wave, after this beautiful break 1, pull back 2 into a vertical third wave, you've actually made an all-time high before the halvening, which is something you've never done before. So this would indicate that this impulsive move is completely different to what we've ever seen before for Bitcoin. So you've come up in 5 waves, you've got a simple A into a B into a C that pulls back into the God candle backtest over the next couple of months, or leading into Q1 2026. It's not necessarily the beginning of a monstrous bear market like that. And the reason is because you've not got completely overextended in the impulse like you did there, printing the waterfall in the Bitcoin dominance and obviously alt season. So there may be confluence in other charts, obviously of XRP as well, and most importantly Chainlink. If we drop the Chainlink chart in right now, you can clearly see, and again this is confluence of why the fact I did think that was the impulsive wave top. Chainlink came with it, came down, made the lower high and dropped. Bitcoin made the higher high. So there you've got your A, your B, your C. So I think we may be doing something similar, and the proof is in obviously the Chainlink chart. So you've come up into the same impulse last year for Bitcoin and obviously Chainlink. You've dropped in the A, you've come up and made the lower high B, which you did in that cycle, and right now you're looking at a C wave drop, and you're looking at a C wave drop for Chainlink as well. So whether or not it'll be as extreme as this, I very much doubt it. And I think the reason is because we can already identify that it won't be that extreme, because if you take a look, you've got that low there, which dropped around about 56%. So if you're looking at this beginning A wave, you drop roughly 30%. So that would already indicate to me, okay, we may actually have some kind of running flat correction here, which is basically the A wave comes down, the B wave is a bull trap, which we've experienced into the summer, and right now you're in a C wave, which comes down into roughly 88k on this God candle backtest, just below the ribbon, and then we break bull into 2026, where we experience a waterfall in the Bitcoin dominance, and obviously the alt season, which is missing this cycle because Bitcoin's not actually finished its cycle off. It's actually a 1 into a pullback 2 into a vertical 3, which is where your alt season comes into play. So that is currently a potential scenario. It's not my primary at the moment. It's a bit short-term bearish, but at the moment, if we do start to break down below the ribbon, I'll entertain buying back Bitcoin down here around about 88,335 on this God candle backtest. If it does begin to break down below that, then obviously you got a bigger correction from this point than actually envision, okay? And we'll look to buy back lower on again and projections, but at the moment, this could actually be at play. So if it is at play, obviously we're going to drag down XRP with that, and this is why XRP may not bottom and push up into Q4. So it's a potential scenario that actually, we've been in a correction since December last year for Bitcoin. A, B, a regular running flat, wave 2 correction. You've had an impulsive wave 1 up, and a regular wave 2, and then it breaks bull into 2026 against all odds and expectations. So one of the key things I'm looking at that would build confidence in this particular analysis is the Bitcoin insights. Let's jump into that quickly before we get into the XRP chart, okay? So looking at the insights on CoinsKid.com, just patience is required, isn't it? From here, we've got 1, 2, 3 months left, okay? If we can see the year end out positive, okay, it begins to negate that. It begins to say, okay, well, you've seen an impulse here for Bitcoin, we break in bull, and I'll take a look at the year open in a moment to see exactly where we are. But if we do start to fall another 20% from here, we see out the year red for the end of the year, then obviously something's broken, isn't it? Because really simple in layman's terms, this is why I was incredibly bullish late 2022, early 2023, because we're just respecting the cycles where, you come down for a year and you go up for free. I've been looking at this with you for a very long time. But if this year we see another 20% drawdown and we close below the year open, then obviously Bitcoin's not doing what it's done before, and it could pave way to that theory that actually what we saw is a beautiful impulse into late 2024, and from there we've been in a correction ever since. With that, you've potentially got a massive third wave missing, which is where typically in every single impulse that we've seen for Bitcoin, in your third and final fourth into the fifth, boom, this is where your alt season happens. And this is why we've not seen the waterfall in the Bitcoin dominance and your alt season, because we're still in this bigger cycle. So obviously it's probably a little bit of hopium as to why we've not seen the big impulse in some of these altcoins. But I'm just relaying the data that I see, okay, and I just respect the data. So there is a chance that is actually at play right now. And what we've seen is a bull trap, and the confluence is in many things, in all the altcoin charts that I've shown you, the Chainlink chart, the VeChain, Cardano, so on and so forth, that have come up and made lower highs, where the likes of XRP and Ethereum, they've experienced a massive push because they've been bull traps. Really simple, okay? So we'll dive into the XRP chart right now, but going forward, it is on a knife edge. Obviously anything can happen over the next few weeks. I just want to see, a couple of scenarios to increase probability of this Q4 finish, which would tie up with basically a cycle theory. We need to see XRP create a reversal pattern below this 272, hold it, high lows, compression lead to expansion, breakout, because that's exactly what we've seen in the Coronadom of 2020. It's exactly what we've seen in the SEC bullcrap in December 2020. Those wicks, those horrible, nasty shakeouts. You build an ascending level support into compression and you break bull. So it is still a chance that we are still in this 4-year cycle theory. But if by the end of the year we do see the breakdown for XRP and it's filling some of that wick and it's horrible and it's nasty, I still think it's a massive opportunity, because Bitcoin, will be telling us you're missing a third wave, which is where the alt season happens. Okay, let's dive into the XRP chart right now and see what we can see. Okay, so looking at the CoinsKid ribbon on the daily time frame at the moment, we have flipped red once more. So that's significant resistance from this point. If XRP can get its ass above, okay, increased probability that this was your wick low. That's it, flash crash, job done. You're coiling up, you create some kind of ascending triangle here, high lows, you start to coil up and take out that resistance, get your ass back above the ribbon on the daily, hold support. Okay, increased probability of an impulsive move to finish this market off into Q4, okay, where you get this sort of little push to the upside for XRP. Failing that, if we do start to see a significant rollover for Bitcoin where it loses the 5-day ribbon, turns it into resistance, and okay, we've got to project down. At that point, we're looking for 5 waves. So we may have had a 1, ABC2, drop 3, ABC4 coming back up, and another final drop that comes down, possibly truncate, if not another sweep of these lows that comes into this God candle back test here around about $1.20. Okay, and I've been looking at this with you for a while as a potential scenario. So it would indicate some kind of A into a B into a C. Now the reason I'm looking at that is because this is a 3-wave move up, not an impulsive move. If it had come back, held the low, fantastic, okay? But the fact that what we've done is lost that low, that is very significant. That's market structure being broken of an impulse, okay? Where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've lost structure. So we have to respect that. So this becomes a 3-wave move up in my eyes. It becomes a bull trap, okay? So it's part of the correction that we've been in since this huge impulse here for XRP. And we've traded this before. For anyone that paid attention to my updates in 2024, we did something very similar. Let me go through this with you, okay? So way back here in 2024, for anyone that's paying attention, we did something very similar. We come up in 3 waves just there for XRP. So this was a 3-wave move up. It wasn't corrective. I actually made an emergency video for you because it was a lower high. Then it came down, and on this thrust, for anyone who remembers, there's a potential 1, 2, 3. When we dropped, we lost this low. So it's at this point I was projecting for a 5-wave move down into a buy zone, which was really simple. It was the God candle back test from here, okay, which was basically March of 2020. I think it was down here, wasn't it? This one just there. This God candle back test just there. That was my initial projection for the buyback, okay, because on the breakout in March of 2023, sorry, we broke bull and we never came back to that support. So at this point here, when we came up in 3 waves like this, and we broke down and lost this wave 2 low, 1, 2, 3, pulled back in a 4 and lost the wave 2 low, I was looking at a 5-wave move down into this God candle back test. So again, we could apply the same logic, okay, going forward. So if Bitcoin and XRP is rolling over into a horrible crash and correction, we just look at the God candle back test, and we have one just there for XRP. So it may be a case that XRP is doing something like this. You've got your 3-wave move up, which is identical to this 3-wave move up just there for XRP. Look, you got your 1, 2, 3-wave move up, 1, 2, what 4, 3, sideways in a 4, broke down the final 5th to a God candle back test. Just there, 1, 2, 3, which is basically this leg here. Come up into the ribbon, get rejected and drop in a final 5th. Come up into the ribbon, drop in a final 5th. So it could be that that's exactly where XRP is looking for. Okay, pretty much like this correction came up impulsively, correctively, impulsively, correctively. We are still making a series of higher lows structurally, even if we come back to 126 on the daily time frame. So it could be a case where, impulsive, corrective, and another impulsive move into 2026 to rock up with, obviously, Bitcoin as well. So keep an eye on this. But at the moment, the fact that what we've done is very similar to what we did here when we lost this key low just there. Okay, once we lost this key low, you got to project down, and we've done that in recent times. So I wish I had most luck, but going forward, obviously this, bearish analysis could be completely wrong. What we've got to do is just keep an eye on the charts at this level here over the next few weeks. If we do begin to print some kind of ascending triangle, we get this level of support, higher highs, higher lows into resistance, and we start to get our ass back above the daily CoinsKid ribbon right down, hold its support. Okay, this was your flash crash, that was the bottom. You got a 3-wave down, 3-wave up, 3-wave down, job done, see you later. we're pushing up into Q4, which is still on the table. So again, like I've always taught you, patience is key with XRP. Keep an eye on the data, okay? But that is a potential scenario. If we do break down here and start to turn this into resistance and don't get our ass above, we could be in a wave 4 before final flush 5 to 126, which would be absolutely amazing opportunity going forward for the big impulse that I think is missing in this chart for XRP. I don't think we've seen a big final fifth wave here, because this is not an impulsive move, it's a corrective move, and I've gone through that with you many times. Hope you understand. Update. Stay off for this one. Stay tuned. Take care. One back to an update in XRP. Bye bye.